Hello, great to see you. Back at it again with another video. It's your boy Will. Hello. If you've never been here, I'm Will. I'm from the UK. I talk about things. I try and look into my own brain and see what thoughts come out. I got a few interesting ideas I like to think, a few experiences I like to share. I try and be authentic and emotive on this channel. Talk about ideas and thoughts that pop into my head. And one of those today is a question. How do you access a creative state of mind? So this is something I think about a lot, and I've been thinking about a lot, especially when I've been reading a book recently, which I have right here, The Creative Act, A Creative Way of Being, by Rick Rubin. Really good book. And I think a lot of the ideas in this book point in the direction of like what I feel is like a creative state of mind. I think a lot of what Rick Rubin kind of puts down really resonates actually a lot with like what I intuitively do a lot. So I'm going to put down some of the things I kind of intuitively do that I've been reflecting on a lot recently. So like, I think one of the really important things in getting into a creative state of mind is increasing your awareness of like what's happening in your own head. So like, what's happening in your head? Are you moving quick? What is it like to stop? So if there's silence and you're still, what is that like? Because in my opinion, being creative, being in a creative state requires a degree of presence. And if you can't be still and you're restless and you're fidgety or you're moving around a lot, in my opinion, in my experience, it's sort of like creative energy that isn't refined, isn't honed. It's like energy that's kind of like maybe anxious, thinking about tomorrow, thinking about yesterday. How can I be better? How can I improve? I've got to do the laundry. I've got to clean my house. I've got to take care of my dog, etc., right? Tasks, busyness, motion. That energy normally for most of us is spent on like the things we are comfortable with doing, right? Some of us that might be playing video games, watching a YouTube video, paying your bills, going to your job, going to school, whatever. But I think that state, that kind of normal busyness is actually the opposite of like what is required to have a creative state of mind, right? Because there's a lot of autopilot in that. I think there's a lot of lack of awareness in the motion of your life, right? So if, like, I don't know if you guys ever felt this, right? When you get into a car, a vehicle, you either drive a car or you're like driven by someone else, often you can like forget how you got there, right? Because you're maybe in your head, maybe you're reading a book, maybe you napped, right? There's a lot of not presence in that process. There's not a lot of being fully engaged and immersed in what's in front of you. And when that doesn't happen, when you don't have that, it's really hard to be creative, because a big part of the creative state of mind, in my opinion, is being really present with what's in front of you so you can make connections with what's in front of you presently. Not something yesterday, not something the day after, not judging it relative to something else, but what is in front of you. What is the idea? Let's actively engage with and toy with the thing in front of us. That's really important for creativity and a creative state. So if you want to, see, for me, if I want to write a song, I need a little spark of an idea. I need to like toy with, play on a concept, an inversion of what I usually do. So I was thinking of writing a whole song where all the parts I sing, I don't do any vibrato, so the voice wobble, that I do that a lot. It's kind of a comfortable way of singing for me. So what would it be like if I didn't do that and I just went instead? Those kind of intrigues in the inversions of the things we're comfortable with can inspire a creative state of mind, right? It can give new novel angles to explore and generate interest and keep moving, right? This can be applied to interior design, writing, painting, business decisions, kind of anything. we need to be able to slow down so we can allow those ideas to ferment. And I think a big part of what helps with the fermentation process, in my experience, is listening. And when I say listening, there's this idea that I really come back to a lot when I think about how to access a creative state. It's like, kind of like it's a bit hippy dippy, but like this idea that there's like a universal kind of consciousness that we're all plugged into, right? That it's not me, ego, I'm cool, I'm great, I've got to put out my cool greatness, right? There's like this big kind of bubble of ideas that we're all trying to pull from. And like, actually what's going to help me tap into that more and put it through my filter that is my experience. I need to be sensitive. I need to be listening. I need to be honed in. So it's my belief that we can get a lot out of our own bias when we're listening to normal things in the world, and when we really deeply listen to things. And I want to be concrete with this. So, for example, for me, if I listen to birdsong, and I'm just outside in birdsong, birds are just tweeting along in trees. There's like a forest down the road for me, and I like to go and walk through the forest sometimes. If they're chirping away, what connections are coming up for me when they're chirping? Because it's going to speak a lot to how I feel, where I'm at in life. Every day, I'm going to have a different interpretation of maybe the identical birdsong, right? Our base state's always shifting and evolving based on what's coming into our mind. So like, revisiting stuff can actually be really useful to like excavate new angles to the same thing, because every day we're going to feel different things. So often I'll go to birdsong with the same birds in the same forest in the same place, probably a similar time of day, and I'll have different connections. Revisiting the same stuff as the state shifts can give you new angles on the same thing. So this is a common mistake I feel I see, where people say like insanity is doing the same thing over and over again. In creativity, in my opinion, that's impossible because we change every single day in very small ways, right? So you can do the same thing day after day, but you'll approach it differently. And listening to stuff in your environment and allowing that to help you make connections with, that birdsong reminded me of this melody. Or what if I tried to jam with birdsong and sing with birds, or create like instruments around the birds? What kind of instruments would I make? Would I play flutes with the birds? Would I put a synth with the birds? Would I put a ukulele with the birds? And like toying with those ideas, being present in that, being curious about what you're hearing. Curiosity is a really important aspect of getting into a creative state. I would say meditation is really helpful to help you be still enough to get into this space. And there's some really, I'm not pointing at mindfulness. I'm not a huge fan of mindfulness. It has its place, but it doesn't regulate the nervous system in the same way that other meditations do. I don't do a lot of mindfulness personally. And I feel cultivating this present state of mind and really listening in to what is there and being less autopilot is kind of the linchpin of like making this creative state of mind. And I think reflecting on these ideas and sitting with them like is helpful for me as I kind of think about, hey, like, how am I being creative right now? How am I sinking into the moment? How am I listening? Because a lot of what I do is listen orientated, right? I listen to people talk. I give my reflections back and help elaborate and create understanding, hopefully. That's my goal. So I think creativity is really, and this is a point I want to finish with, really the underpinning of making sense of and sharing our experience and our stories. in however medium we do it. If we're just telling a story, I think that's creative. So when I say creative state of mind, I think this applies to like everyone, in my opinion. Everyone is naturally creative. There's so much beautiful creativity in so many people. I was on a walk the other day down near the forest near me, and I just bumped into a guy who just started talking. He just started telling me about his life. And, you know, there was kind of a creative way he was like expressing his feelings about different parts of where he was going to move to. And like, there's creativity in that. And that's exciting and awesome. And there's always something we can all learn from each other. That's another really important part of listening. I think there's a lot of bias that we all have about the world. And I guess I want to say at the end here, like, we don't need to be right. We just need to get different angles of the same thing, right? This is all the big collective orb of human consciousness, right? That I kind of referred to a little bit earlier. And being in and around that and seeing the different faces of that can fill in more of our understanding of how the world really is, right? The more we listen, the closer we get to what is real, in my opinion. And it's all part of a bigger whole, and there's going to be bad parts of that bigger whole. There's going to be nonsense in that bigger whole, but we can get different angles and learn about ourselves through that, and then learn about our own creativity through that. So be open, I guess, is my final point here. My final point. But I think I'm going to leave that there for today. You've been wonderful. I've been Will. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.